Good morning or good afternoon, depending on where you're at. My name is Vince Gansberg, and welcome to Match Day. Just want to have a little quick audio check. So we have Ian Barker, my boss, is on, and our special guest today is Vin Blaine. Vin, can you hear us?
Hearing clear, loud and clear.
All right, we can hear you as well. So thank you. Great. Vin, thank you so much for being on. And for those that are listening and viewing on the other end, please ask Vin some questions in the chat box, and Ian and I will do our best to monitor them. So Vin, thank you so much. And I'm sure a lot of people would love the job that you have, which is the technical director, right, for the U.S. Virgin Islands. But I don't know if that's your official title, but let's talk a little bit about your journey and how you got to where you are, and we'll go from there.
Well, thanks for having me on. It's a pleasure being here. Right, Ian, good to see you.
Good to see you.
Yes. Well, Vince knows I've known him for a few years well now, so it's a good first time we're talking to Ian. But
yes.
All right, my journey actually started when I returned to Jamaica to live, because I was living in the US for about 18 years, and then I went back home, and I was asked to take over a school to introduce a program for a female program in a particular school. I did. So my journey actually started from there, and I left that first school and I went to another school, well, St. Hugh's High School for girls.
Okay.
And so I was always in the stream with coaching females.
Okay.
Then I went to University of West Indies. I was there for 10 years as their coach, for female coach. And in that time, I got into the JFF, the Jamaica Football Federation.
Right.
And I was put in charge of the technical director for the women's program. And during that time, so I was there for quite some time.
Right.
Then I became the assistant coach for Coach Schaefer, that came to do the regular ball.
Okay. Yep.
So my journey in football was really founded at the JFF.
Okay.
And I did everything at the JFF. Then I was a manager with Rene Simoes, even he was at the Reggae Boys.
Yeah.
And then I moved on to being the technical director after 4 years.
Right.
So the technical director, then after about 3.5 years as technical director there, I moved on to Grenada in the Caribbean.
That's
as
right.
their technical director. And I stayed there for maybe like 2.5 years. And
okay.
I actually resigned that job also and went on to know where I am at U.S. Virgin Islands. So I've been doing all that. In between that, I was for the past 10 years, I've been a CONCACAF coach educator and with FIFA also. So that's my journey in a short package.
Yeah, it's a short one, but you've had a lot of experience. And by the way, everyone that's on the other end, I apologize. I'm not sure what's going on with the visuals today. Mm-hmm. Usually we can blow up the main speaker, and let's see if we can get that fixed. So we met around 2005 when I was teaching an NSCAA course down there, down there in Jamaica, in Kingston. And my first experience was flying to Kingston right during Hurricane Katrina. So I remember sitting in the Miami airport, and we get on the plane, and here's this white guy with all these other Jamaicans on the plane, and the pilot comes on. He goes, "Okay, well, we're going to sit here for a while until we have a little window to fly through." And I'm like, "Oh, this is wonderful." So we finally take off, and I'm really excited because I've never been to Jamaica. Mm-hmm. We land, and baggage claim, my bag doesn't show up. So I'll never forget it. And you're like being so patient, waiting outside for me. And you're like, where are you? Where are you? Where are you? And I'm waiting and waiting. And I never forget, like, luckily I always pack an emergency outfit in my backpack, right? Mm-hmm. Just in case. And luckily I had that, but I had to wear it for like 2.5 days. And, but you were so kind. Because you've kitted me with a really nice JFF tracksuit, which Ool Sport, which I still have today. I just didn't have time to take it out this morning. But yeah, my wife's like, you've never worn this. I'm like, yeah, but we're not getting rid of it because it has. So thank you for that. And I'll never forget the hospitality you showed myself. And that was a really fun course that we taught.
Yes.
We taught a national youth.
Yes.
There. It was to all the primary school teachers, if I recall.
Yeah, that was one of the first courses that we did actually outside of Jamaica.
Yeah.
Our coaching school has never even started yet, I think. So you coming and do that course, and it was really appreciated by the coaches. And you could tell.
Yeah, no, they were calling me for like 2 or 3 years, like one like New Year's, and hey, Happy New Year's, Coach Vince. I'm like, oh my gosh, okay, but, no, it's wonderful, and that's what and I've been fortunate enough to teach for CONCACAF a couple courses with your colleague, Anton Cornel, who's a class act, and one thing I found when I went down there is that the coaches are so hungry for education, and they're so appreciative.
Yes.
And so speaking of coaching education, so here we are, we're in this turmoil, if you will, but we're finding it as a really good opportunity to educate. So how are you providing those on your island right now?
Well, as I said, you said it's a difficult time, and the resources are scarce for Caribbean coaches. They don't have the luxury of jumping to a state and doing a course. So what I have done so far with this advent of the lockdown and Zoom coming on board, I started a free Zoom online coaching workshop.
Okay.
And I engaged coaches from about 7 or 8 different islands, not just Jamaica. So I have the basis of it was the idea came about helping the Jamaican coaches. And because from I left Jamaica, I don't think much has happened as far as personal interaction with coaches, getting them workshops. So I started this workshop, and it's going very, very well. I have coaches from different parts of the world coming on to do presentations, and it's with the Zoom. You can have it almost like a real workshop. Okay, you put them in rooms, and they can do their consultation and come back and interact. So that is what I did, and I've been running it for about 5 weeks now. This Sunday we have Les Howie from the English FA coming on to do a presentation. I know you're familiar with Ian.
That's a good man.
Yeah, good man. So he did one before, and he's coming on to the second one. Oh, wow. So I've had them coming on. I have people. And I expect you two guys to come on soon too.
we want to do a live version though. We want to fly down there, but
I know.
We're more than happy to help. Yes. Yeah. So I mean, in the chat box, by the way, it looks like we got quite a few from the Caribbean. We got Richard from Barbados. We got Nigel, right, from Anguilla. Yeah.
Yes.
Delroy from Buff Bay High School in Jamaica.
Yes.
Yep.
They're most of those guys, all those guys. I'm not sure what Delroy, because he probably just got introduced to it, but those are in the platform too.
Jason at QPCC Football in TNT.
Yes. That's nice.
No, that's great. And then we got Lone Andrew from Culpeper Soccer Club in Virginia. But Andrew, thank God he's a loyal attendee for us. And then looks like we have Jahari. I hope I pronounced that right.
Jahari is actually a young player of mine. That I used to coach in Jamaica.
Okay. Yep. And then we have Marlon Hilton from Jamaica on as well. So
right.
So Vin, I've got a couple of questions for you.
Yes.
Do you anywhere in your setup, do you have mandatory or required coaching badges to coach at a certain level, or anything like that?
Yes, starting in Jamaica, I can start in Jamaica. We had implemented that. We have what we call an advanced level 1 and an advanced level 2 coaching certificate. And for youth coaches, they must acquire the advanced level 1, which is our introductory course, really. Mm-hmm. And then for the national teams and the club teams, the Premier League clubs, they will have to have had advanced level 2. Because the reason why, that's our senior, that's the highest one we had at the time. But CONCACAF has just introduced and has done a pilot program in Jamaica for the CONCACAF B license. So that's where I know that's where they're heading. Where I am and in Grenada and US Virgin Islands, what we have done, we have utilized the CONCACAF D license.
Yes.
And the CONCACAF C license. So all coaches that coach at the national level in Grenada has to have a C license. And then we are I've transferred it to here where I'm in US Virgin Islands, where we're going to say, okay, all the coaches. So we're just implementing that required level for them.
So like you, I've coached in many different countries and got badges with different federations. And even in a continent like Europe, there are different countries with different levels of enthusiasm. In America, North America, we have great enthusiasm for coaching education. Right. What is it like in the Caribbean? Because you're an established football culture, are people excited about coach education? Do you have to push them a little bit more? How do you? What's the situation when you put a course on? Does it fill up? How does it go?
Well, in Jamaica, it's established now. So coaches are hungry. The other islands are catching up. For instance, where I'm in US Virgin Islands, the enthusiasm is not caught on as yet, but it is getting there. So, but since I've been here, I've put on workshops. We have had about 4 different D licenses here over the period. The challenge you see with Ian is when you put on these courses, they come and then they're not coaching afterwards. So the continuity is not there. And we are working on that now to ensure that we have this continuity. Just like you have the CPD approach, we are trying to implement those things as we go along.
Okay. So you do CPD though, right? Do you have like for the higher level awards, they don't have to do CEUs?
Not yet. No, that's I'm saying we are implementing those things. We're trying to implement those things. Where I am is a different. US Virgin Islands is a new experience, is a different culture, coaching wise. So we're working right now. Myself and my coach, Coach Jiba, who is actually in the UK right now. We're working on a document and we're putting these things in place. Jamaica is halfway there, 3/4 way there, but in US Virgin Islands and Grenada, they're still catching up.
Okay, very good. By the way, so Ian put in that we've done about 70 of these webinars. So for those people that are on from the islands, and Ian McCallum, who's our one lone supporter from the Matchday Supporter Club, has been very gracious and shared the link. So for any of those that are interested in seeing more, there's the link that Ian McCallum provided. So thank you, Ian, for doing that.
I think, Vince, we have to add Andrew and Martin and a few others to the supporter club. I don't think it can be one man anymore. We do have a small but loyal audience.
Yep. T-shirt and hats are coming your way. But no, Vin, we got, we try and keep these to about 15 to 25 minutes, but we do have a question from Joe. And Joe has asked, do you get female coaches in your classes? And what is their experience like?
Well, we have female coaches. From my experience, my love was female football. Right. And I'm an advocate to having females coaching female teams and around the team. So since I've been in US Virgin Islands, we have had about 5 female coaches in since we started, because that's what I encourage. I ask to get people who are interested in coaching, even if they're not coaching yet. And we start with that. In St. Thomas, I started a all women's coaching workshop, but then COVID took over, and we only did 2 sessions. So I plan to get that going, because that's part of my mandate. My title is really Director of Football and Coaching Education here. Okay. So that's my portfolio right away.
Okay, very good. Yeah. I mean, it's similar to us, right? I mean, it's, it's similar situation. So I want to give you some some time to also talk about your podcast and when it airs and how people can access that. So.
Yeah, well, before I answer that, let me get back to the coaching courses, because I would like to engage United Soccer coaches to be here, because we are US. Yes. So it's easier for them to go. So I'm looking at having maybe like an exchange program for some of these coaches so we get experience. And I'll be talking to you guys about that for
That'd
sure.
Wonderful. Yep.
Yeah. Yep. The podcast I started because I wanted to give a platform to coaches who doesn't have the time to get into a classroom every day, every week. So my podcast On the Sideline is really dedicated to coaching education. Okay. So all my guests come on and talk about a particular part of coaching. Like, for instance, the other day I had a youngster called Ian O'Neill. He's actually from England. From Scotland and one of those places. But he did patterns of play. Not the easiest thing to do without a board, but he spoke about it. you know. Yeah. We have Les Howie coming on. Now he's gonna he has been done on the podcast. I've had people from Portugal coming on, and everything that we discuss has to do with coach education. Gotcha. So that's what it's about. So it's straight, and I publish one almost once per week. It's on Spotify, iHeartRadio, and all the popular ones. They can and I also have an app that they can download the app on their phone. It's for the Android phones. So the app will notify them every time I publish a thing. Okay. And it's on my website too. It's on my website too at onthesideline.net.
Okay, I'm going to type that in the chat box so people can access it if they wish. Okay, great. Sorry, I think my dogs are. Hopefully you don't hear those dogs barking. But anyway, Coach Barker, we've gone about 17, 18 minutes here. And Vin, by the way, I'm just going to ask, what's the temperature down there now?
It's probably about 80.
Oh.
And Fahrenheit.
So Vin, I think this idea of an exchange sounds really, really good. We'll start the exchange with us coming to visit you.
Right. And then first. Yes, that is something we can organize, man.
Yeah. We can have him come to California, maybe. That'd be really good.
Yeah, yes.
Vin, one of the things that we've been lucky with over the years, our convention in January, which moves around. So next year it will be Anaheim in California. Mm-hmm. We've had a lot of Caribbean federations come. Delegations from the FA, but then also youth national team coaches. Yeah. And they come in, TNT. I remember working with some guys. I actually had an ODP team, the team with the Beasley and Myron Vaughan, Vince, that team. We played Jamaica in Alabama, and Renee was the coach. Okay. And my head coach was a guy called Louis Matus. Mm-hmm. And Louis traded our red tracksuit with your stuff, and then he wasn't able to give it back to our bosses, so he basically stole one of our tracksuits, gave it to you guys, and then he's got a really nice Jamaican tracksuit. Yeah.
All this fear and love and war.
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, thank you. Yeah, darn it, I wish I was able to get the tracks. I wish I could find it. I know it's in there, but
you have it somewhere.
No, I've got the pants too, and But anyway, but no, thank you so much, and appreciate you taking the time to come on. And for those that are want to come back on at 4:00 Eastern time, we're going to have Tracy Ham, who's going to share her story about taking a UEFA course because she had really no other option. So it'll be interesting. So we'll continue that kind of coaching education theme today. So Vin, please reach out to us if we can reciprocate. Love to help. And thank you so much for being on. So thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah, been a real pleasure.
My pleasure. It was my pleasure. Thanks for having me on.
Thank you.
Thank you, audience, as well.
Take care, everybody.
Take care.